reviewing yesterday's lesson. Obviously, it was a struggle for all of us. Okay? I wouldn't say all of us if it wasn't all of us. Okay? And that's okay. But I do want to take today and touch on that lesson. Why don't I and touch on that lesson just a little bit. Emma, I don't even see one laying around, so I'm not real sure, honey. So, if I have something that looks like most of us, in just looking at 2 of the 4 problems that were on the little assessments that are the little sheet that I gave you, most of us could almost or do this one, okay? Because there's no other steps. For this particular problem, y is greater than 4, all I have to do is graph it and find the direction that my arrow is going to go. Keep in mind that arrow is showing the direction of any other number that would make that inequality true. Why is this an inequality and not an expression or an equation? Why is this an inequality? Madison? Because it has a greater than or less than sign. Okay? And which means that it has more than one correct answer. Very good. Okay? So if I'm going to illustrate or draw this on a graph or on a number line, here's what I need you to start doing with your number lines. Okay? I would take the number that you're going to be graphing. So the number that the little arrow here is pointing to is 4. I would put that number on my graph. Then I want you to show me that you know this would be 3, 2, 1. This would be 5, 6, 7. Okay? And we all know that between 4 and 5, there's a ton of numbers that could go between there, right? Okay? I could have 4.01. I could have 4.95. I could have, not 9.2, 4.9, 4.3. Okay? I could have 4.2222. Okay? So you have to understand that between each whole number, there's a ton of numbers in between each of those. Okay? So, that part is besides the point. I just wanted to throw that note out there. Okay? But with this particular problem, I'm going to find my 4. The first thing I'm going to do is look at my sign. Does it have that little partial equal sign to it?
No.
No. So will I put a dot or a circle?
Circle.
I will put an open circle on 4 to show that it does not include 4. Okay? And this says y, my unknown, has to be greater than 4. Okay? So my arrow has to point to numbers that are greater than 4. Okay? Notice my arrow starts at that number, so it's going to start at 4, and it's pointing to the right. Look, this arrow's pointing to the right. Huh, my arrow's pointing to the right. Winkety, maybe. Let's look at another one. Okay? What if I have r is less than or equal to 3? Okay? I have no other numbers, so I don't have to worry about adding or subtracting anything first. This is strictly a variable, my inequality sign, and then a number, a whole number. So if I'm going to put this inequality on a number line, here's my 3, then I have 2, 1, 0, and I have 4, would like you to find your number and then list 3 greater and 3 less. Okay? That's the easiest way to, like, here's the number that I'm going to start with. List 3 numbers backwards and then 3 numbers forward, just to make your number line look like a number line. Okay? This is not a number line. Okay? That is not a number line, and I will not accept that. Period. Okay? I'm going to look at my sign. It's a less than or equal to sign, so am I going to have a dot or a circle?
Circle.
A dot. When I have this partial equal sign down here under my greater than or less than symbol, I'm going to put a dot. Okay? So I'm going to put my dot on my 3, and that dot is telling me it does include 3. 3 can be one of my solutions. Okay? The rest of this says, my unknown numbers have to be less than or equal to 3. Well, the only numbers that are less than 3 would be this way, right?
Yeah.
Okay? Again, notice my line starts at my 3. Yes, I'm this picky about this. Okay? Starts at my 3. This has to be a dot, not an open circle. Okay? And it's pointing to the left. Notice again, this is going to the left, and my arrow's pointing to the left. Huh. Maybe it's not a pointy dink. Okay, so I want you to try one like this before we take the next step to multiple step 1. So you're going to do M is greater than or equal to 2. I want you to graph this one. You put in the inequalities that are going to have that extra step. In lesson 1 and lesson 2, we learned about the inverse operation, right? If I'm adding on this side, I'm going to do the inverse and subtract it over here. If I'm multiplying over here, I'm going to do the inverse and okay, that's all we're doing, except we're primarily going to be working with adding and subtracting. Okay, so if I'm given an inequality that looks like this, okay, I have to solve this inequality before I ever look at drawing a number line. Okay? Right now, if this symbol confuses you, you can write it as an equal sign, just as long as you remember how to switch it back. Because we talked about and we know how to solve something like this, right? If it says I'm adding 2, I have to subtract 2 to this side of the equal sign. If I subtract 2 to this side, what do I have to do to this side? If I subtract 2, I have to subtract 2, leaving me with s is equal to 3 minus 2 is 1. We know how to do that part, right? Okay? I understand that. I'm showing the class that if it's hard for you to interpret or to look at this problem as an inequality, change it to an equal sign, solve it, then make sure you go back to your inequality sign. Okay? This right here, during this step of the process, is just an equal sign. I'm making quotes to show you that you can understand it as an equal sign if that helps you solve the problem. Okay? So, I could solve it like this. Okay? Or, if you can view this inequality sign, this less than, greater than sign, in your mind, just view it as an equal sign. You're going to solve it the same way you did the problems in lesson 1 and lesson 2, where you were doing the inverse operation. Hayden, are you paying a lick of attention? Okay. If I have s plus 2, in order to get my variable by itself, I have to subtract 2, right? Whatever I do to this side of my inequality symbol, I have to do to the other side. Right? Jimmy, I will ask you to go to the hallway if you interrupt again. This all cancels out. I'm left with S is greater than, what is 3 minus 2? 1. You know how to solve that problem right there. Graph it for me. Draw this on a number line. Okay, here's my 1. Then I would put 0, negative 1, negative 2. Here's 2, 3, 4. Okay? I'm going to put an open circle because there's no equal to down here. Okay? There's no equal to right here. So it's going to be an open circle on the 1. Notice I'm drawing that open circle right on my number line. Look up here. Right on my number line. Okay? It says my unknown, my solutions have to be greater than 1. Well, the only thing that's greater than 1 is 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 2, 4, 6. Okay? This way. That is what yours should look like. Okay, I'm going to do one more quick model of where we have to do a couple steps before we get to this point. Then I'm going to give you 1 or 2 to do on your own before I give you homework. Our test is going to be Thursday.
Yay!
Okay? Hey, stop. Okay. Okay, watch very quickly. All your eyes should be up here. I'm going to model this one again and think through it. Then you're going to get your own to do. Okay? Just like in lesson 1, I want to get that variable by itself. If I'm subtracting 4, I'm going to do the inverse and add 4. Whatever I do to the left side of my sign, I have to do to the right side. 2 plus 4. Okay? Now I'm going to get rid of this part so it doesn't confuse me anymore. And I'm left with S. Keep the sign the same. That will change in the future, but keep the sign the same. 2 plus 4 is? 6. I know how to graph that, right? Okay? So, here's my number line. Here's 6. Then here I'm going to put 5, 4, 3. Here I'm going to put 7, 8, 9. I'm going to look at my symbol. It says it can be equal to 6. So this is going to be a dot right here on the 6. Okay? My answers have to be less than 6. So my arrow is going to go this way. Okay? Then if it asked me to list solutions for this, I could list 3, 4, 5. Those would be solutions that would make that true because 3 is less than 6, right? 4 is less than or equal to 6. 5 is less than or equal to 6. Could 6 be a solution to this problem?
Yes.
Yes, because I have that little partial equal sign down here. Okay, ready for your own?
Yeah.
Okay, here you go. So I have to add 5 over here. Y is greater than 6. Here's my 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm not gonna get it. It's gonna go this way.